The Bold and the Beautiful, Brooke's Bombshell and the War for Ridge Forrester. In a stunning escalation that tears through the heart of the bold and the beautiful, betrayal, obsession, and raw heartbreak explode as Brooke Logan uncovers a scandal that threatens to upend everything. The war for Ridge Forrester's heart, long fought in silence and subtle sabotage, detonates when Brooke walks into Taylor's private world and discovers a truth that might destroy them all. But in true Forrester fashion, the truth isn't enough. It's what people choose to believe that causes the most damage. It begins with a confrontation. Brooke, frustrated and angry at Taylor's proximity to Ridge, decides she's had enough. After months of Taylor slinking her way back into Ridge's life, offering support, quietly rekindling memories, and standing beside him in moments that should have belonged to Brooke, she's no longer willing to stay silent. Brooke storms into the hospital where Taylor practices, determined to tell her rival to back off. What she finds instead is the shocking, undeniable proof that Taylor Hayes has not been the faithful, reformed woman she claims to be. There, just outside Taylor's office, Brooke freezes in disbelief. Through the slightly ajar door, she sees Taylor in the arms of another man. A colleague. A doctor. Not a friendly hug or innocent touch, but full-on intimacy. Passion. The kind that speaks of a relationship that didn't just start today. Brooke steps back, heart pounding, emotions tangled between triumph and heartbreak. She's been warning Ridge. She's been saying for weeks that Taylor isn't who she pretends to be. And now, she has seen the truth for herself. Brooke confronts Ridge later that day. She tells him everything: what she saw, where it happened, who was involved. She pleads with him to see Taylor for what she is. A woman playing both sides, promising Ridge love and commitment while giving herself to someone else behind closed doors. But Ridge, stubborn and defensive, shuts her down immediately. He refuses to believe it. To him, Taylor is the embodiment of trust, of loyalty, of healing. He sees her as the woman who never betrayed him, unlike Brooke, who carries decades of romantic transgressions on her shoulders. He lashes out, first with words, then with violence. In a shocking moment that leaves even longtime fans stunned, Ridge slaps Brooke across the face. The sound echoes like thunder, and the look in her eyes reflects both pain and disbelief. Without another word, he orders her to leave. Brooke, shaken to her core, stumbles out of the Forrester mansion, tears streaming down her face, clutching her cheek and her dignity as she runs from the only man she's ever truly loved. Ridge, consumed by his anger, rushes to Taylor to tell her what happened. He's furious that Brooke would invent such a vile accusation just to sabotage what he and Taylor are rebuilding. He wants Taylor to know how far Brooke is willing to go, how low she'll sink just to win him back. Taylor, caught off guard by Ridge's retelling, is quick to play her part. She gasps, she's indignant, she's appalled by the accusation. She calls Brooke desperate, a liar, a manipulator who always plays the victim when things don't go her way. But once Ridge is gone, the performance ends. Alone, Taylor's expression changes. She paces. Her hands shake. Because the truth is, Brooke didn't lie. She saw everything. The man in question is a colleague, a psychological counselor who had been getting close to Taylor for weeks. And while Taylor had convinced herself it was harmless, a simple lapse in judgment, she now realizes how bad it looks and how much she stands to lose. Taylor knows Brooke won't let this go. Brooke has nothing now, no Ridge, no trust, no leverage except this. And she'll use it. Taylor begins scrambling to contain the damage. She considers every angle. Can she discredit Brooke? Make her look unstable? Push the narrative that this is just a jealous ex spinning fantasies? Or worse, could she silence Brooke entirely? Taylor's thoughts spiral, and the line between morality and self-preservation begins to blur. She starts calling in favors at the hospital, pressuring staff to say nothing if asked. She confronts the counselor involved and warns him to deny everything. And most disturbingly, she begins plotting ways to get to Brooke privately, quietly, and permanently. Meanwhile, Brooke is breaking down. After years of battling for Ridge's love, after rebuilding her life time and again, she finally had the upper hand, and it still wasn't enough. Now she's nursing a bruised face and a shattered heart. And worse, Ridge won't believe her. No one will. Her word means nothing. She's the woman with the past. The cheater. The one who always makes drama. And Taylor? Taylor wears the halo now. But Brooke isn't ready to be defeated. Not yet. With pain fueling her every move, she begins documenting everything she saw. She digs into Taylor's work relationships. She tracks the hospital schedules. She collects phone records, surveillance possibilities, even whispers from nurses and interns. Because if she can't convince Ridge with her words, maybe she can crush him with proof. The kind that's irrefutable. The kind that ends relationships and shatters reputations. Taylor senses Brooke's desperation turning into obsession. And she's right to worry. Brooke isn't just trying to win Ridge back anymore. She wants justice. She wants the world to see who Taylor really is. This isn't about love, it's about truth. About vengeance. About reclaiming her identity as more than the woman who's always wrong. Ridge, oblivious to the storm brewing around him, continues drawing closer to Taylor. He moves her into the mansion. He talks about the future. About marriage. About finally having peace. But Taylor can't enjoy any of it. Not when every knock at the door could be the collapse of everything she's built. Brooke, in a last-ditch attempt to expose Taylor, shows up unannounced at a charity gala hosted by Forrester Creations. The room is full. Cameras are everywhere. Taylor is glowing, standing by Ridge's side, smiling as if nothing in the world could go wrong. And that's when Brooke takes the stage. Her voice shakes, but her resolve is steel. She tells the truth about Taylor, about the man in the office, about the lie being lived in front of them all. Gasps fill the room. Whispers turn into shouts. Ridge looks at Taylor, who's suddenly gone pale. Security escorts Brooke away. But the damage is done. Ridge demands answers. Taylor lies again. Says Brooke is unstable. That this is all a revenge fantasy. But the seeds of doubt are planted. Ridge starts questioning. Starts asking the questions he refused to consider before. And Taylor knows it's only a matter of time before the truth she buried erupts like a volcano. In the coming days, the fallout consumes everything. Taylor's hospital privileges come under review. The doctor she was involved with is suspended pending investigation. Ridge begins pulling away not because he believes Brooke, but because he no longer fully believes Taylor either. And Brooke? She stands alone, vindicated, but broken. She got the truth out, but at what cost? The war for Ridge may be over, but no one truly won. Brooke carries the scars, physical and emotional. Taylor faces a crumbling career. Ridge, caught between two women who've both hurt and loved him, realizes he may not have a heart left to give. In a world where trust is currency and secrets are power, the bold and the beautiful proves once again that the truth doesn't set you free, it shatters everything in its path. And in this game of love, only the most ruthless survive. Would you like this expanded into a full episode breakdown or rewritten as script format? A sudden, brutal twist has ripped the heart out of the bold and the beautiful, sending shockwaves through the Forrester family and leaving fans in stunned silence. Brooke Logan, the iconic, fiery, and resilient matriarch, is dead. Her life ended not in a quiet farewell or a graceful exit, but in a catastrophic accident that was anything but accidental. What initially looked like a tragic mechanical failure is now unfolding into something far darker, something sinister. Because Brooke's death wasn't just a freak accident. It was planned. And the person behind it may be the one no one ever suspected, Taylor Hayes. It started as an ordinary day. Brooke had left Forrester Creations late after a long meeting, determined to head home and get some rest. Her car, as usual, was waiting for her in the company parking lot. She climbed in, started the engine, and pulled into the night. But Brooke never made it home. Somewhere along the winding road leading to her house, her brakes failed completely. The car accelerated uncontrollably, veering off the road, picking up speed as it descended. She fought it. Witnesses later said they saw her gripping the wheel, trying to steer, trying to find a patch of gravel, anything to slow the vehicle. But the brakes were gone. The hydraulic lines had been severed. The car flew off a bridge and plunged into the river below. By the time emergency crews arrived, it was already too late. They pulled her from the wreckage. Medics worked to revive her. Paramedics rushed her to the hospital. For a moment, there was a flicker of hope. Machines beeped. Doctors did what they could. But when the scans came back, the truth shattered everything. Brooke Logan was brain dead. Irreversible. No chance of recovery. Her body was being kept alive only by machines. Hope arrived at the hospital in tears, barely able to speak, holding on to Liam's arm for support. When she saw her mother pale, still, covered in wires and tubes, something inside her broke. The doctors allowed her into the ICU for one last moment. She whispered goodbye. She kissed her mother's forehead. She begged her to wake up. But there was no response. Brooke Logan, the woman who had survived scandal, betrayal, heartbreak, and war, was gone. The official statement from the hospital was clinical. Cause of death, traumatic brain injury due to high-speed vehicular impact followed by oxygen deprivation. Manner of death, accidental. But something didn't sit right. The police opened an investigation as a matter of protocol. And quickly, the facts stopped aligning. For starters, the brake lines hadn't worn out, they had been deliberately cut. Cleanly. Precisely. Not the result of rust or time. The car had been tampered with. Someone had intended for that accident to happen. Someone had murdered Brooke Logan. As the investigation deepened, suspicion began to form a shadow over the Forrester empire. Who would want Brooke dead? Who would go so far as to sabotage her car? At first, eyes turned toward business enemies, jealous rivals, even past lovers. But nothing stuck. No motive was strong enough. No one seemed capable of such cold, calculated execution. Until whispers began to circulate. Small things. Tensions. A history. A rivalry spanning decades. Taylor Hayes. To the outside world, Taylor is calm, rational, healing. A respected psychiatrist. A devoted mother. A beacon of stability. But behind closed doors, cracks have begun to show. Her obsession with Ridge, her hatred for Brooke, the confrontations, the accusations, the lies. The moment Brooke accused Taylor of cheating on Ridge and nearly tore her world apart, something in Taylor snapped. Brooke had humiliated her, threatened her relationship, exposed her. Taylor had sworn to silence Brooke, to make her pay. Now Brooke is dead, and suddenly, the pieces begin to fall into place. The police quietly search Taylor's property. They obtain a warrant. They comb through her phone records, her computer logs, her emails. And then, the breakthrough. Surveillance footage from Forrester's underground parking garage the night of the accident. A blurry image of a woman matching Taylor's height and build near Brooke's car shortly before Brooke left. The figure wears gloves, a cap, moves quickly, confidently, and just as quickly disappears. But the most damning evidence comes from the forensic lab. Partial fingerprints recovered from the undercarriage of Brooke's car match Taylor Hayes. Not a full print, but enough to warrant a deeper investigation. Enough to shake the ground she walks on. Taylor denies everything. She's in shock when the police visit her. She plays the role flawlessly. A grieving friend. A fellow victim. She cries. She expresses disbelief. She insists she was home the entire night of the accident. She demands a lawyer. But the doubt has been planted. Ridge, now in a daze, finds himself at the center of a storm. His ex-wife is dead. The woman he thought he might finally rebuild a future with is under suspicion. His children are devastated. Hope refuses to speak to anyone. Liam becomes her shield. Donna and Katie rally around their family, grieving their sister in disbelief. Eric retreats. Even Steffi and Thomas begin to question the reality around them. Meanwhile, Taylor begins to crack behind the scenes. She starts avoiding questions. Becomes erratic. Snaps at her colleagues. Cancels patience. Her once calm demeanor starts to crumble under the pressure of guilt and fear. Alone, she talks to herself. Repeats the same lines over and over. She deserved it. She wouldn't stop. I had no choice. The police begin tightening the circle. They find traces of brake fluid on a pair of gloves discarded behind the Forrester building. More partial prints. Same match. The noose tightens. But they need more. A confession. A witness. Something undeniable. And then, the final blow, a digital journal entry recovered from Taylor's work laptop. A draft email never sent. Addressed to Ridge. A message she wrote in a moment of vulnerability. One she never deleted. It reads, "She wouldn't stop, Ridge. She pushed and pushed until I broke. I didn't mean for it to happen like that. I just wanted her gone. I wanted peace. I wanted you." Taylor is arrested at her home in Beverly Hills, handcuffed in front of Steffi and Thomas, who watch in horror. The mugshot is cold. The news spreads like wildfire. The headlines scream betrayal. Dr. Taylor Hayes arrested in death of Brooke Logan. The fallout is total. Ridge retreats into isolation. He's lost everything. One woman dead, another in prison. The love triangle that defined decades ends not in romance, but in tragedy and betrayal. Hope vows to keep her mother's memory alive. She reclaims the Logan name with pride. She visits Brooke's grave daily, promising justice. Promising to raise her children with the strength her mother gave her. Eric shuts down parts of Forrester. Cancels public events. The family goes into mourning. Trust is shattered. Alliances break. Everything changes. But even in jail, Taylor holds on to her version of the truth. She insists Brooke drove her to madness. That Brooke manipulated everything. That her death was necessary. That it was justified. And so, the bold and the beautiful enters a new chapter, one defined by loss, justice, and the haunting echo of a woman whose presence, even in death, refuses to be silenced. Brooke Logan may be gone, but her legacy will haunt the Forrester family forever. The question now is simple: will anyone ever truly be able to move on? Or is this just the beginning of the storm? Would you like this version formatted as a dramatic monologue, or expanded with internal thoughts for characters like Ridge or Hope?